my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is going to be an extra Monday special.
Absolutely. This is a year.
A pretty good one. Yeah,
this is a year's worth of finding the books, working deals, and all of that. And these are the top 20 that we've had, and there are other purchases. And so then it was a really tough job to figure out which ones make the cut. It was kind of fun because it was sort of like strolling down memory lane. He said, oh, this one. So it should be good.
Yeah. By the way, Matt's been really nice. He gifted free memberships to people. Very nice Christmas gift. A little bit late, but great Christmas gift.
Well, it's not late at all. A gift is never late.
A gift is never late. So I really appreciate that, Matt. That's awesome. Like, actually, what's interesting, whenever you gift memberships, random people get it. But so if you're like one of the people watching the stream, you might be gifted by Matt. So it's not me that should be thanking you. It's actually the people in the audience that should be thanking, because you might be gifted a free membership, which is kind of cool.
It was a very nice thing. Very nice of you, Matt. By the way, it was a lot of fun last night on the Superman show. That was a lot of fun.
That was a good show. That was
with
really
Nate.
Good show.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
If you guys haven't watched Matt Likes Comics Superman shows, it was actually nominated, much to Matt's surprise, because I think people really enjoy the Superman shows, and they're consistently good. So it was you and Nate and Matt.
And Big Matt. And I thought that it was a lot of fun. And so if you aren't watching, you should. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. So back to this show for a second.
Maybe for more than a second.
I did like one show on Friday where I showed my top 10 pickups.
Yeah.
That was just sheer price, how much I spent on those books. Actually, it did include about 4 books that should have been on that list. They're part of this current unboxing, so I felt like I would spoil the surprise if I showed them. So I didn't show those ones. But those ones will get shown by February. I think that's when the unboxing is like that long of like a series. Okay, but then on Saturday, I showed my top 10 want list books, which were also really big books. You'd think, after all that's like almost 20 books. You think, there shouldn't be anything left.
That's what I thought.
Insane, the books. Like, I got another 20 books, 4 I still have to dig out, but I'll dig those out while you present. But I have still 20 more books, all crazy books that I didn't expect to get this year. This has been a pretty crazy year. And I know you picked up some insane books this year too. It's been a good year for both of us, I think.
Well, for me, it was the confluence of 2 things. One was the elimination or liquidation of an entire other collection. Because the fact that we have a buyer's market right now, still, we're on the precipice of it becoming a seller's market, but we're still in a buyer's market where people are moving books out, either to go after something else or that they need the money or whatever their circumstances. And I would say the last 3 years, maybe even 4, it has been that kind of a way. And I don't know if you've watched our show over that length of time, both Alan and I have talked about, and it's true, books you never thought you'd see ever are coming out, that before you couldn't even get a sniff of one, or it would be perhaps that book, and it would be in such bad shape that you just couldn't bring yourself to it. But the bottom line on it is that this has been a very target-rich field from which to go hunting, and I tend to be more targets of opportunity than I am. Alan and I were talking about this, about making lists. I've got this list, and I know it's lists, and I don't do lists.
Mhm.
I've been around long enough that there are various books that I've seen and wanted, and sort of file them away. And then when you're scrolling, you got to say, "Oh, wait a minute, here we go."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then that's kind of how it works for me. But I only have so many, so
Okay.
I have just so many select
I want to tell you the
parts.
logic behind my lists. Okay. I'm trying not to spend crazy money buying comics. I'm trying
Uh,
not to. But then what ends up happening is, so I make a list and I say, okay, these are the only books that I'm going to focus on. And then there's like this other book that just seems to come by. I'm like, oh, it's a good book. And then
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that's never happened to you. I'm sure that's never happened to any of you guys out there.
yeah, so I get distracted. I get distracted by a couple books. So yeah, so that's kind of what happened a lot this year. There was a bunch of books that I really didn't even think I'd have a hope of getting.
But the fact is that when they present themselves, and this is my caveat,
Mhm.
always understand that when a book like a really difficult book shows itself, say, well, I'm rigidly set to this list and I can't go after it, you may never see that book again for years, or if all at all, or if it was
Mhm.
priced correctly. And that's with what it is with me. With me, it always has to be targets of opportunity because, and I've said this so many times, I'm a broken record, but it's a fact that you seize your opportunities, because I'll bet you a lot of the ones that were not on your list turn out to be some of the biggest and best books you got
Mhm.
this year. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm certain that that's the way it worked out.
yeah. Some really big ones. So without further ado, let's quickly say hi to the chat. Hi to the chat,
Hello to the
and
chat.
then we'll start showing some pretty cool books.
Sounds
Uh,
good to me.
we got Kay Munin, who was first for he finally got the first notification too. We got
Hi,
TM Morgan
Andreas.
this year. Hi TM, that's cool
Hi,
that you
TM.
as well. We got Rob Saint,
Rob?
Mark Mueller,
Mr.
and
Mark?
Mr. Mark, and we have Louis. Hi,
Louie
Louis.
Louie?
And we have Jeff,
Jeff?
and we have Lyle, Mr. Big Man
Big
himself,
Lyle? Big Lyle back from the wilds?
and then we have Robbie Josephs,
Mr. Josephs?
and I do my clickety clickety. And then we got Matt likes comics, who
Big
donated.
Matt?
That was nice of him. He says boo. I'm not sure why he says boo, but we'll go with it.
Ooh, scary. Ooh.
And then we have Happy New Year from Core. Happy New Year to Core.
How are you, my friend?
Yeah. And who else we have here? We have nobody there. One sec. Oh, oops. I skipped by a whole bunch of people. One sec here. We have Big Nasty. Hi, Big Nasty.
Hi, Rich.
And Just Michael.
Just Michael?
And who else? We have Lau. Hi, Lau.
Hi, Lau.
And Mike.
Mr. Pope?
And I think I messed this up, but we'll pretend that I did it right. This is a new one. Den Kyle?
No, he's been there. The fishing one. They made him go back to his original name, and he hasn't gone around Robin Hood's barn to put it back to the way it was before.
Okay. I didn't recognize the
I recognize I
You recognize
recognize
the
the
fish.
catch.
the fish. Okay.
And I want to make sure that you say hi to Thomas O'Donnell.
Yeah, we'll just assume Thomas O'Donnell isn't here.
He was on with Matt last
I know
night.
it's oh don't
T Don whatever,
yeah, oh Don
T John Odell or whatever. So if he isn't
I'm
here,
going
why
high
we say hello.
Yeah. Okay, and then we got Andy. I've seen Andy before.
Andy?
We got Mark, I should say. Mark. Hi, Mark.
Mr. Mark?
FF51, good issue.
Hello?
And we got Archivist.
Jason?
And what else do we have here? I think we got Christine Payne.
Hi, Christina.
And we have Love to
Hello, I think this is a new one to me. Hello, how are you?
Hello. Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
And actually I just skipped by a bunch of people. Shoot. We have Comics Showcase.
Comic Showcase.
And then we have Cougar Comics.
A very young cougar.
And we have
Nathan Appel.
I skipped by somebody. I saw somebody else and I somehow. Then we have MJ.
I think used to be Rooster, I think.
Yeah. And then we have Guy Bravaco. Sorry.
Hello, Guy.
I totally messed up. Sometimes when I click, it clicks twice and it drives me crazy. Okay. 1 sec. We have Rat. Rat's here.
Hi, Aaron.
And I think we're getting close. We have
Sean McGeehan.
Sean McGeehan. And Hudat's here too. Hey, Hudat.
Hi, Russell.
And did I say hi to Lau?
Yes, you did.
Okay. So I got everyone. I think I got everyone. If I didn't get you, you can complain. Send all complaint letters to Collecto.
No. La 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 la.
All the complaint letters go there. You know, all the hate mail goes there, and all the gifts and stuff like that goes to Comic Collector Geek on Instagram. So just so you know.
What a guy! What a guy! Broad shoulders.
Great
broad shoulders.
Okay, so I guess I go first.
Okay.
Because I know you have like a couple good books.
I have a few.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you be the grand finale on the second round. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
So I'm going to show. So these are books that didn't make those other two lists. So that's what's kind of incredible about these books. But they are like, just because they didn't make the other two lists does not mean that they're not great books. These are pretty awesome books. These would be on lists normally. So we're going to start out with Weird Tales from the Future. Actually, I feel like I have to take this one out of it. It's kind of reflecting too much. I just love this one. It's a romantic cover. You know, he's got his heart out for the girl. And
yes, his heart's not on his sleeve, but it's close.
Yeah, it's close. This is a real heartache cover. Oh, Boston Chris is here too. Hey,
hi,
Boston.
Chris.
This was one that I wanted for a while. It just another target of opportunity. Okay, and then this one, oh my goodness, I missed out on this book so many times, and then somebody listed it really poorly. I got it cheap. I was like so happy. This is Murder Incorporated, number 3.
Back in the day, there was a time when there were, as I recall, somewhere between 6 or 7 copies of that floating around all at the same time. Yeah, I think that there must have been some very small warehouse find of that book, because most of them present very, very nicely, just like that one does.
Yeah, this one does. I mean, I don't know why it's a 3, but it presents reasonably. I don't really see anything wrong with it. I think it could be regraded and maybe get like a 5.
Well, again, it's by the book and not the label. And my goodness, that is a definitive book for that comment.
Wait, I gotta say hi to Bleeker. Hi, Bleeker.
Hello, Bleak.
And so just a great one, and I was super happy to get that one. Next one, another big book. This is Smash Comics number 1. Actually, just quickly on the Murder Incorporated, it was actually, I first saw that book on Night Tiger Comics. He picked up a copy, and I was so jealous. I was like, I had to find it. So I just thought it was a great cover. So
How unlike you.
yeah. So this one, this Smash One, is actually a majorly important book. It's really rough. This is the conserved copy. You can see the what's it called when they
Leaf casting?
Leaf casting. They did some leaf casting on it. And this one is just kind of a cool book because it's the first appearance of this robot-y guy, right? Bozo the Robot. And this is also the very first robot cover on a comic. So it'll actually say that. First robot cover on a comic book. Origin of Hugh Hazard and his Iron Man. Black X and Hooded Justice. So yes, robot with extra butt. This is a Canadian saying this.
Now look at the characters. Read the characters in the balloons.
Yeah, it's Espionage, Abdul, the Arab.
Now understand what's on this cover.
And then Archie O'Toole. And then last one is what? I can't see like his full name. I think it's Tugs or something. I'm not sure.
Randall?
I'm
Wendell.
not sure first.
Wings Wendell. Wings Wendell.
Wings. That makes sense.
Because they always have the illusion. I mean, they put the.
Yeah, and Bozo was operated by Hugh Hazard. So on the back of the robot, okay, I'm gonna hide you. You can see like this little trap door, and what Hugh would do, he would climb into the robot and control it. That's how it was. It was a very odd robot, but so very first robot cover. I like these first, historical first kind of things for books. So that was one of the ones. Okay, next one is a big one that should have probably been on my top 10 biggest books from the year. I actually forgot that I had gotten this one. So this is a really big book. This is Fight Against Crime, number 20. And it is just an incredibly expensive and hard book to get. This one, I was watching, I think it was Swagelhaus. And Swagelhaus was going to like the conventions. And this is a book that I always wanted because it's a classic decapitation cover. And basically what happened was he was panning the convention thing while he was talking to one of the people selling, one of the dealers at the convention, right? And just in the corner of this convention, this guy's back wall thing, I could see this book, and I was like, "Oh my goodness! I wonder if he still has it." Because he had it like half of what the price was on eBay or anything. So I was like, "Oh, that's a really great price. I'm hoping it's still available." And
you recognize the seller, obviously.
Well, yeah. So when he interviewed the seller, the seller said his name. So I did like this mad search to find the seller. And I was like, I found him on Instagram and then reached out and, actually really good guy. Brixco is the name of the seller. So yeah, so very cool book. Decapitation cover, girl in the red dress. I think he's dumping her into the sewer, and the police are coming to get him. So,
looks like they're driving a big Buick.
Yeah, it's kind of a huge car. Okay, so there's that one. This one I think you have. I'm pretty sure.
I do.
And this is Crime Reporter number 3. And this is a Jack Kamen cover. Or is it? Matt Baker, I think, actually. Yeah, Matt Baker. I was thinking, what's the one I'm thinking about? There's one that's kind of goes well with this one. I think it's a
there's the other Crime Reporter, I think, is also a Matt Baker where the bullet goes through her hand.
Too, with the hand where she's getting shot.
Right, the bullet goes through the hand.
But there's a Jack Kamen cover that kind of pairs well with this. I think it's a Brenda Starr.
It could be. I'm drawing a blank.
The mirror thing. Okay, but yeah. I sent it off to get graded. So yeah, but this is a really cool Matt Baker cover. I like that it's one where she's reflected in the mirror and you get to see what she's seeing. You got the Swami guy kind of coming in. You got this weird Buddha like statue thing. It's
well, it's an incense burner. It looks to me.
It's an incense burner. Yeah, you can see the incense stick there with the smoke coming from it. I think it's a really cool cover, and she's doing the sexy leg thing. So yeah, and just quickly, hi Biggie.
Hi Big.
Yeah, I like these 40s. Actually, I thought they're they're somewhat classy and yet can be kind of seductive as well. That's 5 so far. Okay, this next one, I'm not sure if you've seen this. Have you seen this one?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so this is Super Mystery Comics number 3 from Ace Periodicals, 1940. It is the first appearance of the Black Spider. Okay, so kind of a cool book. And it's a great bondage cover too. So,
nice. Nice.
And this next one, I think you'll appreciate this one. I actually had to do some research to find out because it's not written anywhere what this key significance of this book is. But this is Funny Pages, Volume 3, number 9. And this is the very first. Can you recognize the cover artist? I'm just going to ask you.
Well, Kamen?
I'll give you a hint.
See.
It's a female artist.
Oh, then that would have to be Tarpe Mills.
Yes, it is. And this is her very first comic book.
Nice.
So this is her first published work.
And that's her cover?
Yep.
I'll tell you, her style really...
Cover,
that's
art and story by Tarpe Mills.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, very. What year is that? 39?
It is 1939.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome?
That's really... I mean, obviously, it's her first, but that's so early.
Yeah. So this is kind of like Tarpe Mills, for those people who are not familiar with the name, she took on the name to kind of like have a sort of a masculine name. Like, because Tarpe, you can't know if it's a girl or a guy. It's kind of an unusual name. It's not her real name. What's her real name again, Stephen? It's
June Mills. June
Yeah.
Tarpe Mills with an accent
Tarpe
on the
was
E.
Yeah. Tarpe was the middle name. And so basically she first worked for the newspapers, like doing the strips. And she worked on a strip called Miss Fury. And that was her kind of claim to fame.
Well, first it was called the Black Fury.
That's right, the Black Fury. And then when she actually released the Black Fury, she did it with Alex Schomburg. That's why both of us like it. So this is Tarpe Mills' first published art. So,
Tarpe didn't have to produce covers for the newspaper strips.
No.
And she basically was Timely got her to do this for when they reprinted the story, which is outstanding. A story of many episodes with great characters and real danger and good characterizations and great art. And Schomburg produced and or helped orchestrate those covers, and you can always tell his layouts.
Thank you, by the way. Don't look up the skirt. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Matt, again. Okay, 3 more books to show. This book, I think you'll know this book. This one is from a special collection Do you recognize this book?
I sure do.
And
It was a beautiful color strike on that book is just spectacular.
the funny thing is it's a 1/5, but it does not. I don't even get it. It is it isn't really, it's immaculate. It must be a spine split or something.
It's a spine split, and I believe it's a white pager if I remember correctly.
It says brittle pages actually,
Oh, brittle. I'm sorry, brittle.
but sometimes with brittle pages, I don't know why, it actually accentuates the color for some reason.
I don't I think that brittle pages sometimes, if there's even a little bit of brittle pages, they hang that on you.
Yeah, well, it kills the grade. So I think it's probably not even a spine split. I think it's just the brittle pages, and it
Brought
dropped
it down.
way
I
down.
frankly, it made no difference to me. I'm
I
here to
bet
tell
you,
you.
if I got this resubmitted, and if I did some kind of not conservational, but something like kind of conservational to the paper, just to bring the life back into the paper, like how they can sometimes deacidify,
Rehydrate.
yeah, deacidify or rehydrate the paper.
You can, yes.
Yeah, you can bring it back. I bet this would probably grade out at a 5. It is just such a nice presented copy. I don't see any flaws with it. Maybe even higher.
And of course, who did the cover?
This is LB Cole cover. And the cool thing about this cover that most people don't realize is not only that it's a Hitler cover, that a lot of people get that. Like, this is a little Hitler bug. It's a Hitler funny animal. But the cool thing is actually this character right here. And this is Wonder Worm. And this is LB Cole's own creation. So Wonder Worm, kind of a cool character. He actually made his first appearance in Taffy Comics #1. But, this is a cool cover with Wonder Worm. So,
the interior art is very, very charming. And the thing about this cover, I always thought so is quixotic, were those floating eyeballs up in the top right-hand corner.
What's going on there? Weird floating eyes. And there's one right here, too. So, yeah, and there's a bomb being dropped. It's a really cool cover, actually. I like the fact that the tank has these spikes on the treads.
Well, and his nose, the turret, the cannon, he has got a runny nose.
Yeah, he's got a runny nose. He's got eyes here. His nose is above his eyes, but that's,
well, sort of like Briefer's Frankenstein.
Like Briefer's Frankenstein, yeah. Okay, so we've got 2 more books to go for my round. And somebody else just came here that we know. We saw Chunko's here.
Oh, hi, Mike.
Okay. I'm not sure if I missed. Yes. See, Wiggles Wonder Worm. See, somebody else knew. So yeah. Oh, and hi. How's it, boy?
How's it, boy?
Okay. And did I miss any other questions? Okay.
Well, thank you, Core.
Very nice. Okay. So these next 2 books are both big books. This is another. I'm not sure. I don't think this is this from your collection? I don't think so.
No, sir.
Yeah, but I know you also have a copy of this.
We both, you'll be seeing that one again. We
really?
both, yeah, and I believe that I got it first, and then you got yours.
Yeah. So this one, by the way, just quickly, a whole bunch more people just came in. Hi, Felix.
Hi, Felix.
Hi, Boston.
Chris, we said hi.
I already said hi to Boston, but Tan is here.
Tan.
Hi, Tan.
Hello.
Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. Okay. This one is, I think this is a really interesting one for a couple reasons. One, she's truly kicking butt. I think that's cool. But this is one where you actually get like almost like a photo face for not She-Hulk, Hawk Girl, and I just think that that's really interesting. That she's got more of a face. That inside she'll be wearing the mask, but on the cover they kind of want to show her face. I think that's really interesting. Yeah. So this is Flash Comics number 39, and it's a Sheldon Moldoff cover. All right. Now the last book is a really huge one. So these are all from 2025. Isn't that amazing? The last one, really huge one, is my Air Ace. Now this one would be a really high grade if some animal didn't eat it. Something happened up here. I'm gonna just do this, and then look how beautiful it is. One sec here, like that. Then you can't see. but if it wasn't for that, it would be a really sweet copy. And actually, I'll take it out of the plastic so you can see it a bit better. This one is really good with Tokyo Kid. I actually have at my stackery right now one of the original posters that they put into the factories with Tokyo Kid.
Oh, I didn't know you had that.
Yeah, I ordered it. Somebody had it in all places, Malaysia or something like that. It's like it was like I think they found I guess they had kind of sent them abroad, and they had like a whole bunch of different posters that from of Tokyo Kid, of the ones they put into the factories to kind of encourage people to do hard work. Don't be late. Tokyo Kid would say, take a break, take it easy. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the production, because they were trying to almost, use reverse psychology on people to make them work harder. So Tokyo Kid is just a classic character created by somebody that used to work for Walt Disney.
Correct.
So this is from 1944, and it's just a classic cover. Cool one. I really like it. So that's my first 10.
Very nice. Very good stuff.
Okay. So I'll let you go for now.
Fair enough.
Okay. I'm going to be digging a little bit here. I got to grab a couple other books that I didn't quite get before.
Now, if you're going to be rattling your pots and pans, mute.
I'm going to mute myself. I'm muting myself.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I got Alan to stop talking and mute him. I want you to appreciate that. Okay. So, again, I will say this year has been the kind of a year that in the early 2000s and this kind of area through their collecting, even back in the 70s when I was collecting, when Golden Age was coming on, and the Gerber, the Overstreet Price Guide would have the center, all the cover gallery inside the price guide was all we had to look at old Golden Age books if you had no access to them, and I didn't. And it always was a big treat to see the color section in the middle. And that's where you would see these covers that and then you look up the prices of what they are, and stuff like that. And it really set a lot of hooks because it was very mysterious. And the amount of exposure to our hobby and the amount of attention that has been given to it, in particular by businessmen and business consortiums and large investors who recently spent $9,300,000 for a Superman #1. It just gives you, I guess it shows that our hobby is not only appreciated, but it is appreciated enough to be actually invested in by people that may or may not have the love of the comics, but they have the love of a good investment. And that's part of it. I have, hello, Ben.
Wait, there's a quick question for you.
The way I started with the price guide was this. When I proved that the Sandman's first appearance was in New York World's Fair Comics of 1939, they extended after a little while, and at the time that Steve Geppi purchased the Overstreet Price Guide from Bob and all of Bob's books, they sent an invitation to me to become an advisor. And so I flew back to Timonium, and then it was in 1995. I had proven the Sandman, and although you've heard me tell the story before, I won't go into it, but all I was met with was resistance from Bob. I mean, it was almost comical, but and I wasn't doing it for accolade. I wanted to just I wanted to figure out, because someone had mentioned to me, the guy that I bought my Fair 39 from, my first copy, he said, a lot of people think that there's a good chance that Fair 39 came before Adventure 40. And so then I took it upon myself. I'm a pretty good researcher. And I get my fingernails dirty. Any sources I can have. And of course, back then, the sources were not there. But anyway, long story short, when I did prove it, so they invited me to be, and when Jeppy did that, I was one of the names they offered to be an advisor. And so I availed myself and became an advisor at the same time that Stephen Fischler from Metropolis, Dave Alexander, Harley already was, then a whole bunch of other people joined in. Dan Greenalch became one, and Bedrock City, Richard Evans became one, and we all hung out together. John Burke also, who had the great collection, he liked the Lamont Larsons, the Fischler was talking to me about, he said that he thought that the fact that All-Star 8 had the first Wonder Woman was far better than the fact that the Sandman was first appearance was being proven. And of course, Wonder Woman is a bigger character than the Sandman was. But I have a great deal of affection for the Sandman because...
Another question, just before you rattle too much.
Oh, I will. The Weekender is a little bit more coarse. I'll show. But the thing about it was that then that's how it started. And then Gary Carter, who was one of the guys that was involved with a lot of this then, Mr. Jeppy hired him to be the editor of the Comic Book Marketplace. And then I became a writer for the Comic Book Marketplace, and I had a lot of fun. I don't like to be clinical in my writing. If you read my Instagram, I talk about how it affected me and the sort of the conditions under which I would have the books, and also for the older books, the conditions of the world and the culture and the situation in the world when these books came out. So that if you can then, and I've said this again 100 times, is that if you can suspend your disbelief and then realize that some kid lying on his carpet reading a comic book and Pearl Harbor is being bombed, or the Battle of the Bulge is going on in Bastogne, or Iwo Jima the Battle of Iwo Jima, or when the Enola Gay went off of Tinian and then dropped the atomic bomb. So there's just the amount of real history. But the most important part as pertains to comic books is that history of our founding fathers of comics is what they are. Our grandfathers, the grandfathers of our hobby, from about 1935-36, when they started to put together the newspaper strips into book form. And you had these anthologies like King and Magic and those kinds. That you would basically then provide comic books, and then actually Superman was going to be a newspaper strip, but they basically cut up all of these strips that they had because they were trying like crazy to get their newspaper strip, the strip of Superman, published. So if you read Action #1, it has that very rigid and stilted style of the early books, which all kind of grew and morphed out of the newspaper strips. And then when they would then, in other words, 9 up or 8, if you had boxes of 4 or boxes of 3, and everybody was inside their little box like this. And then guys like Simon and Kirby, they'd break out of it in arms or legs, or they'll have a gal the whole length of the cover and stuff, and then odd shapes like Baker did and Kamen did. I mean, it's just those kinds of innovations, that kind of innovation, and the progression of how comics were then absorbed and sold to the country. And American comic books were a global phenomena. It wasn't just the United States. They were so good that they transcended borders and language and everything else. It really was an amazing thing. So the first one I'll start with was a book that I had seen Alan had for a long time, and I really, really liked it. And this was not an inexpensive book to get. It's the last issue of The Perfect Crime, number 23, and it's this book right here. And I just think that the blandishment that goes on, the way she is drawn, and the kind of like sunburned chest, and then this leering guy that's going to rip her to pieces. It's just a amazing book. So I got this one. That's the first. I had mentioned before that it's a buyer's market. It was a buyer's market this year for the most part. And although the books would come out, it would not necessarily mean that they would come out under duress or under stress. Sometimes the prices of these books would stay high and then you couldn't buy them, even still. But other times they were more reasonable, and over a period of time you kind of rebuild your finances and are able to go ahead and get more. I found remarkably some books that you just generally see. Here's one of them. It's Marvel Mystery number 56. And it's a 6.5 with off-white pages, which is a really high grade. And the color strike, I'm all about the colors of the cover. Cover colors and buying the book and not the label are my mantra. And then the other is...
This one up, by the way. This is such a great book. This is a good one.
Thank you. And the thing about it is, the other half of the mantra is buy the best you can buy or find, and if at all possible, hold on, because appreciation is our friend. And it did make some deals for me that by doing this over a number of years, I was in a position to, for my hard work on the front end, able to then parlay that into something even better on the tail end. I will show you. That's two.
Wait. Isn't that the one? Am I mistaken? Isn't that extra special?
This one here?
Isn't that from a certain person's collection?
It is indeed, and I thank you. This was from the collection of Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking... That's a big book.
Thank you, Alan. I apologize. I start listening to myself talk. I shouldn't. But there you go. And I also couldn't understand. Toro has his flames on, but he's very much like Tonto or Bucky, in that they are the ones that get in trouble, that have to get their chestnuts pulled out of the fire. But because he is a flame character, and this is of course Alex Schomburg. Here he is roasting on a fire. How is that going to hurt Toro?
I know, he's like a flame dude.
He's a flame dude. He's a flame dude. Going along with that, same thing. Not only going along with that theme, I tended to look for Schomburg like I have been looking for Schomburg since 1988. And so there are certain titles that have a lot of Schomburg in them, and Timely is one of them. And the Timely books for, all time always have been Hi Kung Fu. And in the longest time that these books were the most desirable, because Timely's just they have a lot of panache and they would generate real money. Here's Captain America number 28. With a glorious color strike on the cover. And this was an illustration of why Schomburg got so crazy as a meticulous artist because the colorists would take license. So the red skull is a purple skull, and the Nazi flag is green and orange. Well, generally speaking, that's not how they were. So anyway, but it's a great Schomburg cover. And the fact that he always has like staircases going behind and guys throwing knives from up above, and then guys in openings in the walls, which are sort of like gratuitous. All of a sudden there's a hole in a castle wall and there's some guy with a machine gun there, It's Schomburg. And he always labeled everything. For example, how many pounds are they going to squish Bucky with? And it appears it's 5,000 pounds pressure. That's 3. I was surprised by this one, Alan, that it was this year that I bought this. It was early in the year that I bought this book, and I just love it. It's Underworld Crime #7. And it was this year that I've had it on display quite a bit on my back wall. Just you look at this particular copy. I've looked at several, and again, this is not an inexpensive book. There are not all that many of them.
Yeah, it's less than 20, I think.
And so when you get your chance to get one, if it's, and they're always going to be spendy. If I passed on a couple of them. I came close, but I just couldn't do it. And then by being patient, which for me is not an easy thing to do, this one showed up. But look at this. Look at her face.
And did I inspired you to buy this book, or did you have it on your list before?
I had seen it before and made a note of it, but when you got it, then I had a chance to look it over a little bit more. And then the more I saw your copy, the more I really wanted to, as opposed to something else, that this one was a cool enough book that I really wanted to get it. And luckily, I finally did.
Hi, Phil. You missed everything, by the way, Phil.
It's all over.
Yeah.
Hi, Phil. But anyway, this is the this is the one, and the guy pulling her hair, and these guys have no mercy whatsoever.
Yeah,
it's
the
chilling.
Boyfriend in the back, in bondage.
Yeah, they want him to talk. Maybe they want to have him talk, or he's done something wrong, and she's going to get it before he does. It's really bad.
Yeah, it's brutal.
One of the top good girl titles that there is. Another company that was more salacious than timely was Fox Features Syndicate. And there are any number of great titles and books in Fox Features Syndicate. And the earlier books are much more superhero kind of things that they were new characters and new interesting stuff that they had going. But later on, as they progressed, they basically became more and more sordid, and hence their great charm. And one of the best titles for this was The Blue Beetle. And last year was when I was able to, again, because it was a target-rich environment, to get a bunch of the Blue Beetles that I never had, or had very early, and I sold. And that's how I learned never to sell, because it was too hard to replace them. Way back when.
Yeah.
And so I filled in all the ones I wanted, but there was one that even in my first time through, I couldn't find a copy to buy. And my friend Yaniv found me a copy, and it is Blue Beetle number 52, and this is a Jack Kamen cover.
I love that book. We almost did a thing where I almost bought that book. Remember how we were talking about that at one point?
No, you didn't. It was always mine. And he told me, he said, Alan wants it really badly. I think you should have it, Steve, because I think that you're just so much nicer than Alan. And I said, you're absolutely right. And so he sold it to me, and it's one. And the interesting thing was, I had found another copy of this, and it was like it was a 2.5 or something. And it was okay, but it was nice enough that I was going to put it into my collection. But he had this 4.5 that the price that I got on the other one, I bought it on, and they hadn't processed my payment. So I was able to call and cancel that and then I took that money and added another couple $100. You cut me a really nice deal, and I got this one.
It's a
Isn't
Jack
it a
Kamen
beaut?
cover, by the way, Core. It's Jack Kamen.
Yeah, Jack Kamen. Kamen did all of the Blue Beetles, and it's good stuff. And the immortal Biggie Shack said it best. He said that Baker is pretty and beautiful and nice, but Kamen is sexier, and not by much. But that's a distinctive part, because Kamen would have them. Both Baker and Kamen are just wonderful, wonderful artists. Both with the Iger House of Art, who were the packagers that provided all this content for Victor Fox to trowel out on us.
Mhm.
I told this one again, another title that I always wanted to buy, but you never really could, was Flash Comics. And not just any old Flash comics, but Hawkman covers, because Shelley Moldoff's work is so good that I just love his covers. I know that some people don't like the wings,
I like the
but
way.
I love them, because I love everything about his covers. They took so much more work to produce than now. E. Hibbard did Flash and Kubert, and they're fine covers. They're very, very good covers. Don't get me wrong, but the Moldoff covers were the ones, and even in the day, everybody collected the Hawkman books, not the Flash. And I didn't collect the Hawkman covers just because they did. I did because I always thought they were better as well, and I love Hawkman as a character anyway. This one, I told the story how this connected up with the Doolittle raid. I won't go through it again. You can watch that show where I went through this, but it's just that this was right at the time after the Doolittle raid on Japan, after we got nailed at Pearl, that he took modified B-25s with extended range fuel tanks, etc., to go ahead and bomb Tokyo. And boy, weren't they surprised. But this is just a great, great war cover. Incidentally, we were looking at a Hawk Girl cover, and I think it was yesterday with Matt, and I mentioned that they were noticing that there is the claw of the hawk goes down onto the boot, and there are spurs on the back of the boots,
Yes.
just like a hawk would have. And I said that actually came from the Golden Age.
Yeah.
And here it is, the perfect
Good
illustration.
example,
There are the spurs, and there is, of course, in side aspect, where it goes down onto the legs as well.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And this one, I did buy this one because I didn't even know this cover existed, and Alan had a copy of it, and then I lucked out to get a beautiful copy of this one. And it is probably the ultimate Hawkman, Hawk Girl cover. And it's this one right here.
Yeah, you got a nice copy of it too.
It is the most spectacular. Again, here is Shelley Moldoff, and he signed them Shelley, as you see. These are all American comics that Gaines had. And then, of course, they eventually merged. Some of the things that are intriguing to me about this, the 10-cent placement is down at the bottom of the trade dress, and the Superman DC logo is underneath the F. And they did that so that the top of the H of Flash would be able to go into the corner unencumbered. You see, it was the same thing. It's the same thing with this one too. You see?
Yeah. They put
how they did that, right? It's interesting how they decided what they would do. But the all-American characters were really, really good. Hawkman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and any number of the Atom. All of these characters, Wildcat, Mr. Terrific, and a bunch of others, were in the second one. They had quite a few different helmets, but this was the one.
This was the standard one.
This was the one that it was. But in the Silver Age, they made it so that he didn't have the wings because he was a policeman until such time as he had done enough, was awarded the wings on his helmet. There's a whole thing on that as well. But this is how he was originally and again, you can see the legs going down on the boots. You see where he completed
If you
it.
follow the yellow stripe, it goes into like a little claw.
It goes down into a claw at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this one has all these birds and its action, and they're just coming on. And it was always the weapons of the past against the crime of the present. So he's got a mace and she's got a sling, and a lot of times they'd have like a cestus and all this other stuff. And it was a grouping that I got over in this year, and I made an effort to get Flash.
Me too.
So I picked
We both did.
What's that?
We both did. It's weird.
It really was. It was a lucky thing. And then the one that Alan just showed. This one is my copy. It's a 6.5 with white pages. And again, the color strike on this one, and the content of what he did with the Hawkman's wings spread all the way out. It just is a beautiful thing. This is from March of 1943.
And am I mistaken? Is it a white pager too?
Yeah, white page.
Oh, nice.
And now, I got this at the beginning of the year too, Alan.
Oh.
I got this.
Oh my goodness, really?
I got this one at the beginning of the year. And again, this is another one that I've been showing a lot. But I got this at the beginning of the year. And it's a 3, a very, very hard Gus Ricka cover to find. And
always crazy expensive.
And this one, again, I don't pay as much attention to the grade as much as I pay attention to how does the cover present. You can get a 4 or 5 or a 5 that doesn't look as good as this. Whatever the defects are, and I don't know, the back cover, it's not that bad, but nevertheless, this is off-white pages. But it's the entire, you have the whole thing where you see the progression of the experimentation that this guy is doing. And Gus Ricka was all about facial studies. It was all about facial studies. One of the biggest Gus Ricka covers that there is. And it's one that I don't think I'll ever have because it's also really tough. But they had this one that Robo Picto Comics. This is another Gus Ricka cover.
That's a huge one.
With all these faces. This one and that one that I just showed you are the ones. That's a current book that you can get at Robo Picto Comics. But there's this one. And because I'm going to have to turn around and go back and get this the Weekender for my friend.
Was that your first 10?
No, I have just one more, and I'm going to show the. I had all of these were new this year, not this one or this one, but all these Peps. This was at the beginning of the year, Alan.
Oh, really? I actually got that book as well as last year.
Another Flash I got, another Captain America I got, and I got that Jumbo this year as well, which has the first artwork by Matt Baker. And of course, I have this one here, another Flash, beautiful Flash cover with the wings out. Wow. So I will show you the difference between the two.
Which one are you grabbing?
I was asked to show the difference between the Weekender in conjunction with the Dynamic.
Okay.
Here is the Weekender. Now you will notice how grainy in aspect the fuselage is and the housings over the machine guns. Now the Weekender has the same interior as the book I will show you from Dynamic, but it's later. And this is a 6. This is a 1 of 1. I haven't seen any. There's a Weekender that looks like
quite rare. Yeah.
I mean, it's Canadian. And there is one of the one with the Doctor as well, a Weekender that has the Doctor as well. I haven't found one that was even halfway. I mean, they're hard to find, and I don't know if I'm going to go out. I just like this. I always like this because I collected firearms, and I always thought how interesting it was how this thing's set up on the front here. Now, so that's this one.
So
this
every year, Biggie does his top 10 member collectors, by the way. So this is going to his list to see who's going to be at the best.
Now you will notice that this one is signed by Mac Rayboy. They removed his signature on the other one, but you'll notice the finish on the fuselage and guns is far smoother.
Yes.
His face is also a little bit clearer. In other words, it's not. I'm not
sure what it is with the printing. Like it's almost like it's just crisper on this version.
Yeah, and this one was another Yaniv book, and I believe that the other dynamic was a Yaniv book as well. So it's that the fact that
derpy, yeah, maybe
derpy. But the fact is that they both, the image itself is just, if I can do this.
Yeah.
So those are my first 10.
Okay.
And again, I want to say we're both, Alan and I, are very glad you're here with us to share this end of the year program. I will also tell you that both Alan and I had to spend quite a bit of time. First, you have to determine what you got and when you got it. I'd forgotten about this World War III that was this year early. So you know, as a marking point. So, but it's fun to show these, and I've got another 10 coming.
Okay. I made a list, and then I had to go and find the books. that was the hard part. Like I had to find where I put them. I had no idea where I put my own books. But this next one is another one associated to Tarpe Mills, actually. And it's one that I picked up this year. And it's Amazing Mystery Funnies. And this is another Centaur book. Centaurs, if you're not familiar, are really, really rare Golden Age. It was a rare Golden Age publisher. Just known, like very few survived from this publisher. And, you know, this is kind of a cool book because it's the very first time that you have the character of Hitler in a comic. So it's the first time that in the story you actually have Hitler appearing, you know, doing Hitler stuff. And it was actually a Tarpe Mills story where he appeared. This was also from the Reuben Blades collection, which makes it a little cool too. So this is, you know, this was one of my big pickups, but not one of my more expensive ones. But this one I actually got it as a bit of a steal because it was an eBay auction, and I kind of lucked out on it. Now, you showed a cool Blue Beetle. I actually have a couple Blue Beetles that I'm going to show in my top list because I was doing the same thing as you. Like I feel like even when we don't discuss it, we seem to be hunting
doing the exact same thing.
It's the weirdest thing. Like hello, that was my book. That's the one I was going after. Why are you going after it? Okay, so I was actually going after that run of Blue Beetle where Jack came and did the covers, and it just happened that you were doing the same. So this is one of the ones that I picked up.
Love that book.
Where I always feel like she's kind of rubbing the money on herself. I don't know. It has that look. She's kind of robbing the safe, and the Blue Beetle is coming to stop her.
I love how the skirt is stretched tight on her hips, but she has green bow ties to hold her breasts in place and then around her waist. I just think that is such, and the interesting crenellation at the top of her long white gloves.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, Sue.
So yeah, just a great book. Oh, and Chunko, he stole my line. I have it too. So yeah, it's a good one. So I picked up that one. I actually picked up 5 from the run, believe it or not. The other one I picked up.
And that is, and ladies and gentlemen, understand this. That is not usual. That is not common. They are not that available. Generally speaking, the people that buy these books hold them. They do because they're hard to get.
This is another one that I managed to pick up. This one is a qualified one. It's missing page 6. it affects this. I guess somebody had ripped out the text story, but it doesn't affect the comic stories. But they did rip out one page.
That's a bright copy. Why would they tear something out of it?
I don't know. But I got this off a Heritage auction. I think people will really, the funny thing is, I actually got it for half of what it sold for previously on Heritage. So the same copy came up twice on Heritage, and I got it for half of what the previous guy paid for it. So I'm not sure why you would try to flip it.
I like it. The Hairy Informer and the Ambitious Bride. I love the titles.
Yeah, so this, Blue Beetle is, a cool character in his own way. He's like a man of mystery kind of character, and he's also a character in the Golden Age that didn't really have powers. He was like, a typical Golden Age.
He was a cop. Cop.
Yeah. That was that was sort of a standard trope where the cops would fight crime on the side, like they dress up because they're like, oh, I can't get proper justice, so I gotta fight crime my own way.
And his foil was a gal who would get in trouble that he would have to or she would try to want to help him and stuff. And his name was Dan Garrett, was the Blue Beetle.
Yeah, Dan Garrett. Yeah. Okay, and this is the one I was trying to find at the very beginning when we were talking. I was like, oh, where did I put it? I didn't know where I put this book. And then I realized as I was doing, you were doing your show. One sec here. Hi, Tan. How high would you rank Haunt of Fear #4 for mummy covers? It's a great one. Like, I love that cover. Haunt of Fear is like a pretty good run. It's one that I was actually thinking about switching over to. Like, I finished all the crime suspense stories. Like, I got that complete run. So I'm actually on the kind of process of like, what's my next EC title to go after? I was either going to go after Tales from the Crypt or Haunt of Fear, but Haunt of Fear is pretty awesome. So yeah, but this is the one that I couldn't find. I was like searching behind me for this book. You saw me pulling out a whole bunch of books and trying to find it.
I did.
And I placed it totally somewhere else. And the reason it was in a different box, normally it should have been with my Batman collection because it's a Batman book, but it wasn't there because it is a special book.
It's an Infinity cover.
It's an Infinity cover. So I put it in my Infinity box like I should, right? So this is Batman #8. And it's probably one of the more expensive Infinity covers of the Infinity collection. And I was so happy to get this one. I didn't think I would be able to get it because these early Batmans are really expensive. And it's just a cool one. It's actually a pretty good Infinity cover. Like if you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, and kind of almost 5. It's actually a pretty good Infinity. So yeah, so Batman #8. It actually has the first appearance of Professor Radium too. So extra cool. So and it's Fred Ray and Jerry Robinson cover.
Fred Ray was so good with the covers. He really was. And
too. I mean, he's awesome.
What's that?
Jerry Robinson too. I think he
Jerry.
Kind of,
yeah, and of course Moldoff. DC, I mean, really had some amazing artists.
Oh, Core has to head out. So yeah, Core, sorry, it's going to be a bit of a longer show. So yeah, you have to watch it in the rewind. So this next one, I can like another like I was collecting a bunch of things last year. So I was collecting, as I said, the Blue Beetle run. I was collecting, like I'm always collecting Sodi books. But one of the things I was collecting, and I'm not sure why, but I just sort of went down this rabbit hole of trying to get all the cool Drowning covers. And I really, I think Drowning covers are kind of like, there's something about it in terms of the horror aspect. And I felt like this was kind of the #1, in my opinion, best Drowning cover. And it's Worlds of Fear. I'll take it out because it's glaring a bit. But I do believe this is my favorite. It's just such a cool cover with this weird demon hand holding the guy's head under the water, and his eyes are rolling up in his head, and it's like just I don't know. It's really gruesome. There's something gruesome about it. Yeah, I just thought this was a really cool book.
Who did the cover?
I'm not sure. It doesn't say. You know, but
In what year? What year is that?
It's 1953, so it's at that point.
Wow, right at the end.
54 are kind of
Mhm.
like the peak pre-code horror covers. But it even CGC denotes it as a classic drowning cover. I just think it's a cool one. Yeah. So yeah, Death by Chicken Claw. Yes, it is Death by Chicken Claw. So yeah. Now, the next two books actually showed on my top 10 biggest books of the year list, the number 1 issue. But in that same auction, I picked up 2 other big books from the same run. Another run that I was working on in 2025 was Frankenstein. And I actually managed to get Frankenstein 1, 2, 3, and 4, all in the same auction. And 15, actually. So I got 5 books in one auction. And I got them super cheap. So I was quite happy. But these are normally pretty expensive books because the early Frankensteins are hard to get and quite desirable. It's when it's still a comedic story. So this is Frankenstein number 2. And it's by Dick Briefer. I just really like it. This one actually, it's interesting because... Oh, my son's calling me. So this one is interesting because it like on the cover, it actually recaptures the story from the first issue where it's his origin story. So this is the scene where basically a little lamb lights the castle on fire, and the whole castle is going to burn up. And so Frankenstein, the evil scientist guy, is saying, "Hey, you got to save me. You got to get me out of here." He's like, "Okay, I'll get you. I'll totally," like Frankenstein says, "I'll totally get you, but I first have to save all these innocent little animals and cute little bunnies and stuff like that." So he's like literally getting all the animals first before he rescues the mad scientist, and the mad scientist gets killed. So it's kind of a funny story. So this is Frankenstein number 2. And to go with it, I got Frankenstein number 3. And the grades are actually quite solid. Like, you know, these are solid grade 4 for these books. I mean, they're black covers, so it's kind of impressive. This one, you got like a little factory of Frankensteins being made. So yeah. So it's another Dick Briefer from 1946. I just have 2 more to show. This next one, I think, or actually 3 more to show. Sorry. This next one, I think, is from the Gentner collection, by the way. I'm pretty sure. Is this your book, Stephen?
It is indeed.
Yeah. So this is another one from the Gentner collection. So yeah, so this is Master Comics number 44. I just think it's a cute cover with the penguin. It's actually,
there are not very many of that book, actually. That is quite a rare book.
Expensive book. I don't know why. Like most of the Master Comics are actually pretty affordable, except this issue. Like there's a few that are like expensive, but this is one of them for some reason. It's this one, and the one with Captain Nazi is a pretty expensive book.
Mm.
And the one where he's whipping Hitler is another expensive one from the series.
Yeah, where Hitler's dancing on the cover being whipped.
Yeah. So this is from Fawcett Publications 1943, and it's a Macro Boy cover. He's considered to be kind of the premier artist for Captain Marvel. Okay, we got 2 more to go.
Captain Marvel Jr.
Captain Marvel Jr. Sorry, I meant to say Junior at the end of that. Okay, the next one is from a series of Good Girl comics that I managed to complete the full run of in 2025. And it's The Farmer's Daughter. And this is, I think, Harry Shaw. I think it's the artist. It doesn't say it on the slab, but I'm pretty sure. It's quite funny, actually. It's a good story, typical farmer's daughter thing. Some city slicker always falls in love with the farmer's daughter and wants to marry her. And, there's like shenanigans that ensue. Like basically that's the summary of all the books from the run. But it's fun stuff. Lots of good girl artwork inside as well. And these are pretty rare. Like the census on these are less than 10. And usually pretty pricey. So I was really happy to complete the run. So this is Farmer's Daughter number 2. And the last big book, and it's actually a pretty high grade book, is my Captain America number 68.
Golden Girl.
This is, the Golden Girl. So what happened was Golden Girl replaces Bucky. So Bucky gets killed. Actually, he gets shot. And then they replace him with her. I think 2 issues prior to this. So this is her second cover appearance. So this is just a really cool book with Golden Girl on the cover. And if you look at her helmet, it has these like little wings on it, which is kind of interesting.
Well, they're used to drawing the Wizard.
Yeah. So I just think it's a cool book, really high grade, a 6.0 for this book. It's quite hard to get in that high grade. I think The Farmer's Daughter was done by Harry Shaw. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure. And this one, it's not an Alex Schomburg cover. It's by Charles Nicholas. So Charles Nicholas cover. I think it's actually a pretty good cover.
2 things about that book. Number 1, that is late in the day. Is that 48?
Yeah, so this is 1948, September 1948.
Now, what you will notice is look at the word balloons that are on the cover. This is typical of these books at that time. And I can't think of anybody that thought that was a good thing to do, but for whatever reason, I think Stan Lee was in charge. So the other thing is that's interesting is not only did they...
So, okay, sorry, Billy Williams. Okay, sorry. I thought it was Harry Shaw for some reason. But yeah, sorry.
But it's interesting that Stan Lee decided that not only was Bucky going to get killed off and have the Golden Girl go there, have a female, but the Human Torch lost Toro, and then the Sun Girl came in to be his, and she was actually shacking up with the Artificial Man.
Yeah, no, it's really messed up.
They were cohabiting together because they kind of went away. They kind of went away from the thing that he was actually an android.
I think what they were trying to do with bringing in Golden Girl and bringing in Sun Girl was that they were trying to leverage the fact that superheroes were, especially for Marvel, were kind of on the wane. And it wasn't that much later that Captain America just becomes like a pre-code horror title. And it actually stops altogether pretty soon after this. Like, it's not that many issues later. And I think what they were trying to do was leverage the popularity of Good Girl. Like from 1946 to 49 was the era of Good Girl. And I think they were trying to leverage that in these books.
Not only that, but they came up with all of those good girl titles that basically they rode all the way into the early 1960s, and then basically then they took the pre-code horror and tried to still ride on that as well with the Marvel Monsters after the code.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that is my last of my 10. I'll let you go and show your last 10.
Let me go, let me go. The thing about the golden age of comics in the United States, which is here all before you, is the golden age of the United States. Our neighboring country, Canada, and north of us, also had a golden age of comics. But the golden age of comics for Canada was an entirely different thing. And the reason why was because the exigencies of war and the availability of material and things that the Canadians decided were available or would be available to the comic market. The first thing they did was, and not because
Going right, I'll
not because of the comics necessarily, but they wanted to maintain as much money in their country as they could. And so they basically put up a prohibition of periodicals, including comics, coming into Canada from the United States. And as a result, no American comic books were able to get into Canada, or they weren't supposed to get into Canada. And in order to meet the demand, the government still found that there was virtue or value in this. And as a result, what they did was they came up with a list of requirements, which was the paper that could be used, the inks that could be used, the colors that could be used, and all of these other things. And all of them were very, very spare and very sparse. And so what came out of that is what is known as the Canadian Whites. Now, we've talked about these before. I think they are remarkably important historical comic books, in particular, specifically for Canada, because this is how they responded to the war. And so what they did was they had some original stuff, but a lot of it were licensed characters from Fawcett, or it would be characters that they made that were somewhat funny, Triumph and all these other. The Mad Torso. It could be the Mad Torso. I don't know. He looks like the Red Skull. But nevertheless, the thing about it was this, that the Canadian Whites came out and they were of such fragile construction and cheaply made because that's all they had. But they also changed the formatting so they could get more into the book.
Back in like 15 minutes.
Okay.
I have to drop my son at some place, so I'll be right back.
All right.
So you hold the fort down while I'm gone.
All right, I'll hold the fort. I know,
it's annoying. Okay, sorry. Hold the fort.
All right.
So everyone, sorry, he can't show the comments, but he will do his best. Okay, thank you.
I will do them. I can't show the comments because I don't have that. So, Yaniv again had some Canadian Whites. At the time, I had been looking at some of these Brazilian books, and I picked up a few of those, and I probably could have shown some here, but I've decided that I'll save that for another time. But the issue was that the Canadian Whites came in and were beautifully done for what they could do. And so Yaniv had this book, and it is Whiz Comics, number 11. Anglo-American was the company, and this was from November of 1942. Now, this cover, as you can see, has Captain Marvel holding Hitler and Mussolini by the neck. And it's got off-white to white pages, which for these is really, and 4/5 is a high grade, because these did not survive in good condition because the materials they used literally just fall apart. I mean, they are that fragile. And of course, over the intervening years, and mothers that didn't like them, but if they weren't cared for carefully, but they would fall apart just from regular reading. They would get torn and stuff very easily. Down with Blabbermouth Mussolini. Down with Adolf Puss. And Captain Marvel and the War of the Trolls. And so what you have here, this is a ripoff, or I will say homage, to Superman number 17, which is my favorite Superman book because it was the book that my dad had. And I had the book that was left, the remnant, because the cover and the first two wraps were gone. And I didn't know what it was. All I knew is that I loved it. And I knew, reading that as a kid, that it was different, way different from the Silver Age books, what they turned into the Silver Age, but the books that were currently being produced. And in 1960-61, which was it was DC, this is what I was getting. I was getting the Legion of Superheroes and Adventure and Superman and those kinds of things. Because Marvel, I didn't collect the Marvel monsters. No one in my whole neighborhood collected Marvel monsters at all. Zero. And then all of that changed, of course, when the FF1 came out. And they went away and they rolled the dice to try to save the company because Marvel was swirling the drain because the Good Girls stuff and the Marvel monsters did not resonate enough against the reintroduction of the superheroes after Showcase 4. It is my contention that the Silver Age of comics began literally in September of 1954. And the reason I say that is that all of the proscriptions and rules and regulations of the Comics Code Authority were in effect at that point. And so what defined the Silver Age was how the writers and artists accommodated the Comics Code Authority so that mothers and parents and families would not be offended, churches would not be offended by what was going on because they were offended before. And then the hearings, the Kefauver hearings, basically put the dagger right in the heart of comics as an actual medium. And if they didn't fix it, it weren't going to be around any longer. That's why a lot of the comic companies went into the magazine format. There was a conversation that Biggie Shack had about what constitutes a comic. And I was reading, I think it was TM had it on his Instagram, and he posed the question, how do you feel about what constitutes a comic? And there was a guy named Serpicomics, like Serpico Omics, Serpico with the omics on the end, omics, said that the comics that aren't the original from the foundation of our grandfathers in the Golden Age, that they are comic adjacent comics. They are comics, but they are adjacent to what are the actual comics that we call comics. They are comics, but they're adjacent to what the grandfathers of our hobby created at DC and Marvel and all these other companies at that time. And so, and the size, format change, and how much more dialogue is inside of them, and the artistic style that was used, and these sorts of things. They are still comics, but they are not the comics that are definitive to, and were actually covered by the Comics Code Authority, which was another thing. So the books that came out of the Golden Age that then became Comics Code Authority Silver Age books, those things all came in September of 54. And then books that were cover dated October, starting in October, they were printing books for like March of 1955, March or April of 1955, and that's when the codes came in. That's when the stamp was put in, and we did a bunch of research on this. You can check Alan's shows to see. But that notwithstanding, the Comics Code Authority obviously had no effect on these, and because these are so fragile, and they are different. I think the golden age of comics in Canada is represented by this kind of material. Yaniv had another one that was in relatively bad shape, but the cover, the propaganda cover on this book was so good that I bought it, and it was in terrible condition. It had tears, it had grease pen on it, it had writing on it, it had all manner of problems. It was a 2.5. And so I gave it to my good friend Matt at MT1 Comics, who is the major domo of Astonishing Auctions. And it is this grand slam. And all of these tears and all the other, the tears that were sealed and the cleaning that was done is absolutely, it was night and day what he achieved. And all of the comic that had basically scrunched up into the holes where they were scratched, basically he hydrated all of those tears and rolled them back into position in the cover. It's the damnedest thing you ever saw. It took a very long time, and this was the very first Canadian white that MT worked on. And so when I was looking at the Brazilian books, which I think are remarkable and very interesting, Chonko Comics has basically gone whole hog on Brazilians for a certain artist, and because of that, I mean, it's a great niche. But I decided that I had more of an affinity because I have such good friends up in the Canadian community of comic collectors that I really have embraced these Canadian white books for just how important and charming they are. And so this is the one. I mean, it's just a great one. And again, it's Fawcett that was done, and it's Captain Marvel Jr. And this reprints Captain Marvel Jr. #1. And this one is from April of 1943. Anglo-American from Canada. And so what I did was I bought several Canadian whites, and they are currently with MT, having him lay hands on them, because these books are going to dissolve and go away unless they are stabilized and helped. And so I'm doing that I'm buying some, and I'm going to have them stabilized and deacidified and cleaned up and fixed so that they are in good shape, and then slab them so that they will last long after I shuffle this mortal coil, because I think they're important enough for that. Our American comics here, I think that they were made so much better, and they lasted so much better even to today. They are just better made, and full colors and everything else, single staples, which I still don't understand how that saved the war. Here is my next book. I wanted to express that in this venue so that you understand where I'm coming from. I love Bullet Man. I had 1, 2, and 3, and I was trying to see about getting every so often picking up one. This one showed up on my comic shop, and I was struck by the cover colors, and then I've realized that this is the mile-high Edgar Church copy of this book, with white pages and an absolutely stunningly beautiful color strike on it. Now, they say, well, maybe some of the Mile Highs don't have the highest grade, but I assure you that if it's an 8, if it's an 8.5, it's a 9, whatever it is, the Mile Highs have this kind of color on them, and the pages are white and they smell fresh, just like brand new. And the Mile High collection, and that's why I think the Mile High collection is the best collection of any of the pedigrees, is because it changed the way the grading system worked completely. Because prior to this, a book that would be a VFNM turned into a Fine Plus, because they had no frame of reference to what they really were like, or damn few. And here was a collection that almost uniformly was perfect as printed, and it changed the firmament. I remember they said that it's a Mile High, it'll cost you double guide. And I go, why in the hell would I pay double guide for a book? It's ridiculous. But I got over that. So anyway, here we go. There it is. This is Bullet Man number 6, and this is from July of 1942. It has the other artist besides Mac Rayboy that did Bullet Man is Charles Sultan, and he did issue number 1 as well. Charles Sultan was damn good as well for Fawcett. So there's that. All the Superman movie buzz that was going on focused a lot on the Superman books of the Golden Age. It just people, they kind of reopened their eyes again. And the Superman number 1 that sold for $9,300,000 is a perfect illustration how Superman did change the world for comics. It just did. Every comic that came after Superman number 1, Action Comics number 1, if you had a Batman came out of that as a superhero, and those were the two grandfathers. I mean, you could say that the Human Torch to a certain degree, or Captain America. But DC was the one that did it. And Superman was the character. He wasn't as powerful, and he was more interesting, and he was more vital. That is to say, when he would take on crime, it would be the real Quill. It was none of this, they parse it and all this other stuff. But I had the 17, and I think it's 66, which is the It Tickles cover. Those are two of my favorite covers. Another one that Yaniv had in one of his pop-up auctions was this one, which is Superman number 18, the book right after. And this book is notorious for having faded colors on the cover. And this one looks so nice that I basically stepped up, and he cut me a very nice deal on it. But, it is a patriotic cover. A patriotic cover is stuff like this, where it's showing the flag and going in and doing the job and fighting the Japanazis, which is what they called the Japanese and the Nazis together. They called them the Japanazis. That was the shorthand, verbally or written, that they used in the day. The planes that are here on the cover are Bell P-39s, or approximations thereof. It almost looks like it could be the original version of the P-51, which was the Apache. But nevertheless, but the Airacobras, the P-39s, were thought to be, hot shot things. They had a Bell built them, and they had the engine sitting behind the pilot, and it had a drive shaft through to the propeller. And because they did that, they could install a 37 millimeter cannon in the nose, and then wing guns. And the Germans, they were not good enough at altitude to take on the Me-109s at all. And they were very quickly removed from combat on that basis. But the Russians loved them because as a low altitude ground support aircraft, that 37 millimeter cannon, the Russians were knocking out these German tanks left and right. They loved them. But anyway, I got this Superman number 18.
Very nice.
Oh, welcome back.
I'm back. Wow, that was an adventure. Some crazy stuff happened in the last few minutes. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So then I had traded away a book for, I wanted to trade it for another book that I got. And of course, I gave him All-American 22, which is very early in the canon of the original Green Lantern. And Superman, he had he said, are there any other books that you're looking for? And Biggie Shack had this book, and I had looked at this book before long ago, and I never had a chance to buy it. And then I said, well, maybe if you have this book, I would go for it. And of course, you should never say that to Yaniv, because he'll go out and he'll find it for you. And here it is. It's Superman number 23. And this is a beautiful 6.0, a color strike that will not quit, and white pages to boot.
Nice.
I mean, this is how it would have been right on the stands. And this was back July, August of 1943. Superman was bi-monthly at this time.
Very cool.
Just a great cover.
How many do you
Oh.
have left to show? Just curious.
5.
Wow. You still got a bunch. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
I didn't know how long you were going to be, so I ramped a little bit.
Okay. It's okay.
Here is one that Alan had that I thought I'd never get a chance at. They're so hard to find. And it's Whiz Comics number 2. And this particular copy, it's a departure because
Wiz
Captain Marvel...
4, I think.
4, I mean 4. Captain Marvel...
Comics 2 is pretty big. Yeah.
Captain Marvel never really had a lot of Good Girl, but this is a Good Girl cover. And I said, God, I have a chance to get it. But I noticed there was more writing up at the top underneath that had nothing to do, whatever to do with the restoration that's on it. But it was signed by C.C. Beck himself, who was the artist.
I don't get why they didn't give it the special.
Because it was prior to them providing that.
Oh,
If I sent this back in, they would do
you
it.
get the special label, yeah.
But this one...
Oh, thank you, Chunko. That's really nice of you.
Thank you, Mike.
Wow, that's huge. That's a big gift. Thank you. That's really nice of you.
So anyway, I got this one. And then, so sticking with Fawcett, I had a copy of this book, and I was very, very lucky to find it. And it was a very nice copy of this book. It was a 1/5. It had a split spine, but in a slab you can't see. And just because the spine, the paper, the cover got separated from the book was not that unusual a thing, because when they fold these 68-page books, the stress on the spines and then the staples penetrating into the spine, when the pressure on the spine is very, very high. And so after people would open it, a lot of times the cover would literally disconnect. Also, centerfolds would disappear.
Hi, Beyond Wednesdays.
And so this book was one that Alan had, and I managed to find another copy, and then a good friend of mine, I sold it way too cheap to him. Got my under copy. I sold at my cost. And here it is. It's Master Comics number 13. This is the first cover appearance and origin of Bullet Girl. But what makes this even more special is the fact that this image of Hitler and Captain Nazi in a swastika down at the bottom, being slammed by Minuteman, is just an amazing book. And there I think there are like 13 or so of these.
It's not that many on the census.
There are very few. And they say "Be an American" on these covers, which I really liked during the war, always, and even after the war.
There'll be one more on the census soon, because mine's getting graded, right?
The original. The other thing that happened was the book that I traded, gave to Yaniv to sell for me, the All-American 22, was to pay for a book that I found and then paid for out of hand, because he had to wrest it out of a guy's collection that he never thought would do it, who specialized and was a stickler for cover colors, which sounds like me. And hey, what do you know? And so I, as you know, have collected Batman. Was the title I chose over Superman between the two, and I've mentioned this before. I just preferred the Batman character. I love the early Superman a lot. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But if you're going to do it properly and somewhat more comprehensively, you got to focus. You don't have unlimited dollars, so you have to focus where you go. The 1 through 11 of Batman are all big books. The one that Alan has, and the number 8,
I think it's
and
number 11 that you. What's the wait? Or is it? What's the one with them on the table? Isn't that
the number 8? The number 8 has them on a drafting table waving. That's
no,
not.
no. The Infinity is number 8.
Okay, then 10. 8 is the Infinity, which I know Alan likes them. They're ho-ho. And then the one with them waving on the art table is another one that is not grave enough for me. or striking enough for me. And the one book out of all of these up to 11, the 11 being the playing card cover,
Yeah.
then was this one here, which is the Spotlight cover.
Oh, very nice.
And this was the last one that I needed to complete my Batman, my early 1 through Batman books. 2 years ago, I got the Batman #1. And last year, I got Captain America #1, which was out of the blue, and traded a bunch of things for that. I bought the Batman 1 outright from my comic shop, and I'm very, very happy. There's a whole story about that. But so I was looking at Yaniv's scene, his wall on a convention, and one of the books that I had early in my collecting career was a lower grade, and it was damaged. And I love the cover image so much, and it's so out of place in the Captain America run. It's right near the end, as Alan was talking about, and it's Captain America Comics 74 by Timely, and it has an Art Modell cover, who was the artist who drew the Golden Age Green Lantern. And yet he created this definitive, best there is, in my opinion, Red Skull cover. And so he had this, and I worked another deal where I could trade books with him, as I was talking about before. But here is this beautiful Red Skull. And I had my artist friend, Matty Freeze, do an homage to this, where I had the black cover of Superman 66 with it tickles, with lightning bolts coming up out of the back, and increased it out of the size of this basically window box cover to make it almost the full cover. And it turned out beautifully. But this is where it came from. And in this, Cap goes to hell and battles the Red Skull. And if he doesn't win, then Cap is going to be trapped in hell forever. It's really an amazing story.
What's the restoration on that one?
It says
stepped in. Upstate Comics, Biddles, and Bearded Rooster. Hi.
The restoration was color touch, pieces added, tear seals, cleaned, reinforced, and the staples had rusted and were removed.
So it's almost like somebody tried to restore it. Not restore it, but conserve it. Yeah.
They did conserve it.
Yeah.
So there's very, very, and it's a moderate B3. So whoever it was that was the better than amateur restoration person that did this knew his business, because it looks just great. The last book I got was a huge story that I told you guys about at length. And what it was that Yaniv was asking me what of the top books I really still wanted. And I said that the book I wanted to get was actually this book. And it is Detective Comics number 31, the definitive Batman cover. There are a lot of great Batman covers, but this captures the mood, and it is Batman prior to Robin, and the layout and the execution of this cover is just, to my eye, the Batman cover. It is the Batman, and he ain't happy. And the interior stories, it's the first appearance of the Autogyro Batplane, and it's also the first appearance of the Batarang. And so two of the primary things that the Batman used are in this book, but the content of it is wonderful, but the cover itself is it's transcendent. And so this required an inordinate amount of work for him to get. He had to fly clear to New York to get it, and he had to sacrifice some stuff out of his collection on top of which to get this for me. He went out of his way, Herculean effort, because you can have a 1/5. This is another situation where the spine split. which is, as I said, it's very understandable that happens. But there's no restoration on the book at all. All it was that the cover detached, and it was reaffixed in a manner that would not bring a conserved, but it was reaffixed professionally. And so here is the book, and the back cover, which Yaniv told me is almost always and invariably scuffed up and in trouble. But before this happened to this book, or it happened and then the book just sat, because it is a perfect back cover.
Yeah,
you can read every one of these ads. There's no scuffing at all.
This is a really high grade, low grade copy.
And well, again, it's you buy the book and not the label. And this is there's a little chunk up in the corner that was missing, but it still has the better portion of the no for number, and it has the number 31. September of 1939. September of 1939 was when the Germans rolled into Poland and the war started with England. That's when it happened. So when this book was on the newsstands, World War II started. And actually, it would have been on 2 months earlier, because it's always 2 months ahead is when they went on the stands. But by cover date, and this would have still been on the stands when the World War II started in Europe. So it's a marker. But this book is of the top books in our hobby. The ones that and again, it sounds ridiculous, it's a litany. I never thought I would own this. I never thought I'd own a Cap 1.
When I first met you, this was the book that you said was your grail that you would want to have in your collection.
It is. It is, because it's when I hooked my wagon to the star of Batman. If you're going to have the Batman, there are three. There's Detective 27, there's Detective 31, and there's Batman #1. Now, between Batman #1, there's nothing wrong with Tech 27. It's a great book. But to my eye, I like the cover of Batman #1 better, because it has Robin. It's a much larger figure of the Batman in action. It has a pin-up back cover. It has the first appearance of the Joker. It has the first appearance of who is the Catwoman, the cat. And it is an incredibly important book. And it's not like Superman #1, which was actually never Superman #1. Superman #1 was an annual of reprints of action. There was no number on the book. And they reprinted it. They reprinted it 3 times. At least. And so, but even so, it's rare. With Bat 1, it's all new stories. But this particular, the interior story is important in the canon of Batman, but it's this cover that is the thing that really, really did it. And this was the biggest book I got in 2025.
Okay, congrats. I think it was a good year for both of us.
I think it was an outstanding year for both of us.
I didn't realize my hair got all messy. So I braved the weather. Oh my goodness. So my son needed me to drive him to the gym, which is just down the street, but it's really cold outside. So, I felt bad for him. So I figured I'd drive him, but he didn't shovel the car out. So I had to ram the car out of the driveway. It's like,
how much snow's on the ground?
Like a foot.
God.
And then he didn't properly scrape the windows. So I realized only after I got out that I couldn't see out one of the side windows. It was very like, I'm lucky to be alive. That's all I can say. So yeah. So
well, I'm glad you're all right. Alan, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to show, and it's a pleasure to see the beautiful books you showed. Alan has so many beautiful books. He's had 3 separate shows on all of this, and he still has more of all the great books he got this year.
There's 4 books that probably should have been shown. I know a few people expected a couple. I can't really show them because I'd ruin the finale of my unboxing.
It won't ruin that. And I'll tell you what, Alan, next Monday, then we'll have what we'll call the aftershaves. We'll call the we'll call the it won't be the cleanup, but there will be the ones that should have been mentioned that weren't. I have a
Mhm.
couple of books that I want to show this coming Monday that are huge, that I have to show.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds good. We might do that. So we'll have a special New Year's
It will
show.
be New Year's. It's the cleanup for what was still, because I think you're going to be stunned by what I got.
Oh, okay. By then it'll be like a year since I'd seen you. So
Well, count your blessings.
yeah. So yeah. So
Thank thank you,
thanks
chat, for being
everyone.
here.
So I just want to quickly say thanks to everyone that has been hanging out with us for the past year. And we've been doing this show for 3 years, actually, something like that. And I just want to say thank you and Happy New Year to everybody that's watching. And, this show wouldn't exist without you guys watching it. Like,
Mm-mm.
it would be very hard for me to convince Steven to come on the show if there was nobody watching it. So, um, you know,
I'm such a mercenary.
yeah. So, yeah, it's really great to have everyone watching. I hope you guys had a great holiday season. And yeah, thanks again. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.